Hello everyone, welcome to this demonstration of the new Banji chat application. Banji is the new name for what used to be called Ring-KDE and SFL Phone KDE before it, and for a couple of weeks it was called at some point Inuchuk, but don't ask. So this has been renamed yet again because I want to avoid getting sued by a certain manufacturer of doorbell who happens to be the richest man on earth. So this is the new Banji client compared to the previous Ring-KDE. It has been refactored to be a Kirigami application rather than predating Kirigami and using our coding widget left and right. So the basic interface remained the same. The only difference is there is now a sidebar. So the application itself was updated. The chat itself is quite different from the old one in that it has two modes, when you scroll and when you don't. When you don't scroll, it's quite empty and a lot of space and not too much visual noise, and when you scroll, then all the overlays appear and more meta information and everything you need to know when you're scrolling and looking for something, like the date and everything. So you can also go to the bottom. The smiley pane itself has not changed much. What's new is really the sidebar here. Before, in Ring-KDE, you had all these tabs at the top here with information and everything. Now this has been moved to the sidebar because in the end they're not really useful unless you're searching for something. So in the sidebar you can edit the contact details, you can add a few settings, you can see the statistics, control notifications, and if you go to the second tab, you have the summary of the history with this contact. You can press on it and it will jump in the chat. On the other side you have the contact list. I dropped the whole timeline look and feel because it didn't really feel native in Kirigami and KDE in general. So now it's just basic list. The search still worked quite well, so if you search you see the different source. So you have the web, you have the bookmarks, you have your local contacts from Akonadi or from vCard, and you have also the history, so everything is bland, everything has their own color depending where it comes from the history. So Banji doesn't use the network much, so there is no central servers keeping our contact and stuff. Everything is kept locally, so this is great for privacy. When it comes to the calling itself, if I call using a mobile phone here, let's wait a few seconds for the call to pass through. There we go. So this page hasn't changed much. You still have the control of your camera, you still have the timeline here. If the peer rang up before you call, you still have like missed call here, and you have about 100 of those kind of pop up depending. If the peer is busy, then it will say, do you want to call back in 15 minutes? If the call was refused, that's different message. So this is the message for missed call, so you have the option to call back now, which I will do. So when you call, you see here it's searching, then eventually it will reach the other side. So if you pick up, then it starts to work. Depending if the other has a video enabled or not, you will see something or you won't. So this is the call. And let's see, that's about it. I mean, the previous Ring-KDE clients had really a lot of options and VoIP stuff and other types of events, but with Banji I went for something simpler. Like This is made to work fine on mobile, so on Android and on desktop Linux. So having a million options is not really something you want to aim for. So this simple client is much better in that point of view. Other features, so the via IP stuff, can be added later. And it can also be another app. So if I don't want to like clutter this application with a billion options like the previous Ring-KDE had, then it can be a second option, a second application that's better designed just for voice over IP and call stuff instead of being everything at once. So this is it for the desktop mode. Thank you. Hello again. So this is the phone presentation. So those are Android phone. This is Nexus 5 running Android 5, Nexus 5X running Android 6, Galaxy S3 running Android 6, and Nexus 1 running Android 4.4. And this is recording using Galaxy Note 4 running Android 8. So this is to demonstrate the Android version of Banji. Will try to record my best. So if we start Banji, this is a clean installation. I just installed Android like 10 minutes ago. So this isn't Banji installed with no accounts. You can create an account using the wizard. So the first thing it will do is creating your cryptographic key pairs. On such a slow and old phone, this can take up to a minute. Alright, so you can set a register username, you can also set a password. I will do neither of those because I don't care much. Yeah, that's better. So I don't want. Then you set up your profile, your name and everything, which I still don't care about. And first thing you have to do is you can search. Yes, there is a bug, I see it, I know. So if I search for myself, you can then call. In the menu, the difference between the desktop client and the mobile client is that you don't have like 3 panes one next to the other. You have pages, so you can navigate the different pages. You also have all the settings. Video is extremely experimental on Android right now, but if you can select both cameras, like the front and the back, it does ding. It does actually kind of work. So if you call, I select the back camera right now, not the front. So you see on the desktop, I can pick up the call, and you actually see that actually works. I mean, it's not the highest performance ever, but yeah, kind of work. So for incoming calls, you get big buttons, very easy to touch. They're round when there's too many of them. If there's 2 or less, they're square, so very easy to hit. If there is network issues, like I can artificially create by disabling the network, then there will be eventually, it will detect that something's wrong and you get all the options to try to fix. So you can hang up the call, you can try to renegotiate, you can reload the network and everything. This is very important on mobile because the data connection are never really stable. So if something goes wrong, you don't want to say, hey, are you there? Are you there? So the software will actually detect when something goes wrong. It will tell you, and it will give you options to try to fix it. So that's about it. I mean, other thing like receiving a screencast is supported, but you cannot do screencast from Android itself. You can send text message. You can receive text message. So if I send a text using the oh yes, true. My network is disabled, so that obviously won't work. As you can see, the button to send the text message is not present, and there is actually an error message if you click on the error saying, hey, you don't have network, this won't work. And there we go. I have network back, so I can send actually a message. But this goes bad. Message, smiley. This actually worked, so I can see message has been received, and I can do a reply, send a reply, and eventually they show up on the other side. So this is it for the Android client. It works on all versions of Android higher than 4.4. On 4.4, the camera is not supported because the API changed for the Android Camera 2 API in Android 5. Camera work in Android 5 and up. What doesn't work very well on Android 5 and 6 is the background mode. Google changed it and like 3 times in the meantime. So on newer Android, it can run the background for a few minutes. On older Android, it might freeze randomly if it's let idle for too much time. The only way to fix that is implementing background services, which is a lot of work and would be about 3 weeks. There is also some alignment issues with the message at some point. I think we saw it. This is because it uses key quick item views version 0.2. And this feature, like resizing and portrait mode change, is only supported by 0.4, but 0.4 is not stable enough to release. Besides that, the video support, as you saw, the camera name, it was not front and back, it was like 0 and 1, and it was kind of choppy. There was no option for the resolution and stuff like that. So this is currently not really implemented. It's required a lot of Java code. This is not supported by Qt. So that's about it. Otherwise, it works well. You can do audio calls and some light video calls if you have good Wi-Fi. Text message tend to work just fine, like you expect. And error handling is quite good. You saw the error on the calls. There was also the error here. There is global error that will appear in the peer list, like you don't have it internet, blah blah blah. This is all well supported. The chat, the search, I mean, works well, and that's about it. Thanks.